What's up, Bears fans? Welcome to Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Hope you're enjoying a good weekend. Some more playoff football today. Should be a lot of fun. Speaking of today's show, let's dive into it here on today's show. It is the perfect Chicago Bears free agency plan. I'm going to take a look at 10 players that I would like to see the Chicago Bears sign and how I think those players could really help this roster. Let's go ahead and jump into it here. And you guys who know who my top guy is, I want Daron Payne. I want Daron Payne to join the Chicago Bears, as he's been with the Washington Commanders for the last several years. He's certainly a franchise tag candidate, but if he hits the open market, I think this has got to be your number one target if you're Ryan Poles, because you need to revamp that defensive line, and if you can have an interior defensive lineman that can get pressure consistently like Daron Payne can, that's hard to replicate because there's not many of those guys in the NFL. Payne is certainly one of them with 11.5 sacks this past year. I'm a big fan of his. Washington could certainly tag him, and they might. But if they don't and he becomes available, I would throw huge money at him. I'm talking over $20 million per year. Now, who is your number one free agency target, your top player that you would like to see the Chicago Bears go after in free agency? Get your thoughts down in the comments below. Who would you like to see the Bears go out and sign? I would also like to see Yannick Ngakoue come from Indianapolis over to Chicago, because the front four, I think, is the biggest weakness on this roster from top to bottom. I'm not sure you have a single starter on that defensive line right now. And Yannick Ngakoue is just the epitome of consistency. He's a really solid player. He's like 8 to 12 sacks every single year. I think the lowest sack total in his career is either 8 or 7.5. I mean, he's been rock solid in his career. And if you could somehow pull off the Payne and Ngakoue double, that's a great free agency period regardless of what else happens, because you would go from the worst defensive line in football to maybe top 15 just with those two players alone, and then maybe you draft Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, then you're cooking with gas. It's going to be tough, but if you could somehow get both those guys, you got the money to do it. We'll see what ends up happening. Let's stay in the trenches, but go to the offensive side of the ball. That is Mike McGlinchey, the right tackle for the San Francisco 49ers. McGlinchey is a guy that I think could be a cap casualty for San Francisco. You know, you can't pay everybody when you have a really good team, right? And he's a guy that could get $10, $12, $13 million per year on the open market. And when you look at this offensive line, I think question number one is, are you keeping Braxton Jones at left tackle? And if the answer is yes, then you got to upgrade at right tackle. I don't think you have a solution there. I don't think bringing back Riley Reif is going to be, something that makes sense. Alex Leatherwood, I don't think he's going to be the guy. You need to add a solid tackle. If you add a left tackle, maybe Jones flips over to right. We'll have to wait and see. McGlinchey's strictly a right tackle, but he's solid. He's not great, but he's a good run blocker. He improved this year as a pass blocker. I think if you could get him $12, $13 million per year on a 2 or 3 year deal, that would be pretty solid if you were the Chicago Bears. Today's show sponsored by Magic Spoon. We're excited to welcome them back to Chat Sports as one of our sponsors. Peanut butter, had a bowl of this stuff this morning. It's absolutely fantastic. Tons of different flavors, and you can get $5 off at magicspoon.com/chat. Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid, but I had to give it up because I realized it was full of sugar and junk that you really shouldn't eat. But Magic Spoon is cereal reinvented. I start every day with a bowl of Magic Spoon, and it tastes amazing. And honestly, it's too good to be true. Magic Spoon tastes exactly like regular sugar from your childhood, but is super nutritious with 13 to 14 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar. Magic Spoon comes in delicious flavors such as cocoa, fruity, frosted, and my favorite, peanut butter, and several others as well, and only has 140 calories per serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. I love Magic Spoon because it tastes great, and it's good for you. I'm never going back to regular cereal. Start your new year off right with Magic Spoon. Use the QR code on screen or go to magicspoon.com/chat and use code chat to get $5 off your own personalized Magic Spoon variety pack to stay on track of your New Year's resolutions. That's magicspoon.com/chat, or scan the QR code and use promo code chat. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. And by the way, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. They're so confident that you're going to like their flavors and like your cereal that if you don't like it, they'll give you your money back. You can call them and say, hey, I thought this was not as good as you guys advertise. They will pay you back. magicspoon.com/chat. Get $5 off with code chat and go enjoy Magic Spoon today. All right, let's continue with our perfect Bears free agency plan with another player to target. How about Michael Thomas? Technically not a free agent yet, but reports out there that it's almost certain, unless he just takes a major pay cut, that he's going to get cut. And I think he probably deep down is like, okay, I probably just need a fresh start. Last 3 years, a lot of injuries, but we should not forget how dominant this guy once was. His first 4 seasons in the NFL before his injury-riddled last 3 seasons, he was arguably the best, if not a top 5 receiver in the NFL. 5,500 yards over his first 4 seasons, 32 touchdowns. I mean, this guy was a catch machine, averaging over 112 catches per season. So what I would do if I was Ryan Poles, I would give him an incentive-based deal, an opportunity to make a lot, maybe even up to $15 or $20 million, but with only 5 to 7 guaranteed, something like that. We'll see what his market ends up being if he does hit free agency. But this is a guy, if healthy, that has a potential to be that number 1 receiver for the Chicago Bears. So I would very much be interested in doing just that. Now, would you sign Michael Thomas, or do you think it's too big of a risk with his injuries? Type S for sign or P for pass. Let me know down in the comments. I absolutely would. I think he's worth it, and I think it's worth taking a chance here, and then obviously, still draft someone in the NFL draft. Mike Gesicki, who could also help at receiver because, let's be honest, he basically is. The tight end for the Dolphins, I think he's probably a guy Miami's going to let go. He didn't do a ton in Mike McDaniel's offense. He's basically a big slot receiver, so I kind of get visions of that 2 tight end set with him and Kmet. Kmet's a much better blocker who obviously is a good receiving tight end as well, but Gesicki really is just a receiver. He can work the seam, some of the underneath stuff as well. I would like to add him to this offense to give Justin Fields another weapon. Thank you guys so much for helping us cross 59,000 subscribers. We really do appreciate it here at Bears Now and at Chat Sports as a whole, so appreciate that. If you are someone who has not subscribed yet, I would encourage you guys to do so because we publish daily content for free around the Chicago Bears. Also, we told you guys about a week ago now that once we reach 60,000 subscribers, we will do a live fan-led mock draft where you guys make the picks, and it's going to be a lot of fun to do that. We'll mirror the mock draft simulator on the screen, and you guys can make the picks. We can do some trades. Should be a lot of fun. So help us get to 60K. Thank you guys for 59 as we continue to grow. All right, 5 down, 5 more to go. Bobby Okereke, the linebacker out of the Indianapolis Colts. I think you need to find someone to pair with Jack Sanborn, and I think Okereke is a solid option. Number 1, he's a solid player, 150 tackles, 6 TFLs, 5 breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and he's a Flus guy. He knows Matt Eberflus's system. Flus is a fan of his, and I think it's a plug and play. Sanborn and Okereke, those are your 2 off-ball linebackers. Then, maybe you draft a guy later in the draft as depth, and, maybe find another guy to be, a depth piece as well. But you're going to sit in nickel most of the time anyway, Sanborn and Okereke. I think it's a solid 1-2 punch. Anthony Brown, the cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys, who is injured, not playing in the playoffs, but just a solid CB2. Nothing special. Again, I can't just go up here and list the highest paid free agents at every position because the Bears don't have that much money, but I think you find your big guys that you're going to spend on, and then guys that can plug and play and fill certain roles. Anthony Brown can be your CB2 if you want to keep Kyler Gordon in the slot. Now, if their plan changes and they want Gordon on the outside, then that would be different, although Brown can play some nickel as well. So you've got that versatility for him also. What is a bigger need on this defense? Do you think it's linebacker or corner? Type LB for linebacker, CB for cornerback. You've got some interesting depth pieces at corner. Kendall Vilder got hurt, missed second half of the year, but he did some decent things. Jalen Jones did some decent things as an undrafted player. You got some interesting options, but you got no depth after Sanborn at linebacker, so I think I got to go LB here. Few more. Khalen Saunders, the defensive tackle out of Kansas City, who's having a nice year and a contract year. Was a 3rd-round pick in 2019. Almost didn't make the team this year, and he's made the team and run with it in Kansas City. Had a career year this year, 48 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. He's a great run stuffer. He's like 330, so he's more of that bowling ball nose tackle. So you pair him with Daron Payne to fill that middle there. You get Ngakoue, maybe draft a Will Anderson. Boom, you've revamped your defensive line. And Ryan Poles helped draft Saunders in Kansas City. He was in that Kansas City front office, obviously, when Saunders was selected, so he's familiar with him. If he likes him, that could be a guy that he targets in free agency. He also knows this guy, Mecole Hardman, the wide receiver for the Chiefs, who hasn't played since Week 9, been dealing with a pelvis injury and won't play or hasn't played since then. But he's another Poles guy. And he offers speed. He's a sub-4.4 guy, can run the jet sweep game, can challenge secondaries downfield. He's a good punt returner. So if you want to add some speed to your offense for a reasonable price, I think he's a guy to look at. And then David Montgomery at running back. Bring back David Montgomery. Now, this is a pretty loaded NFL free agency group at running back. But you look at David Montgomery, and he's been loyal, he's been productive, he's a leader for this team. And I think sometimes, and look, I wouldn't complain if they went after a Saquon Barkley or something like that. But I think sometimes we get caught up in, do this, do that. Sometimes it's just best to stick with what you know. You know David Montgomery. This is a loaded free agency class. I think Monty will be cheaper because of that. He's not going to command what Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, or even probably Tony Pollard will on the open market. So you let those guys get the big money, and you bring back Montgomery, $6-7 million per year. That's a good deal. You pair him with Khalil Herbert. You know what you have in your backfield. You led the NFL in rushing. Sure, Justin Fields had a lot to do with that, but Monty and Herbert can continue that 1-2 punch. I would probably go down that route and spend money elsewhere. What do you guys think? Should the Bears re-sign David Montgomery? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Do you want Monty back? I'd like to see him back because he brings a lot of intangibles and leadership on and off the field as well as production. Y for yes and for no. Let me know what you guys think. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Obviously, we will have a lot more free agency coverage to come, so stay tuned for that. Draft videos, news, rumors, it's all coming your way here on Bears Now. So hit that sub button. We'll see you soon here on the channel.